Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to show you how I made this beautiful WebVR animation just by using HTML. Uh, so basically, what we have here, let's see, here we got our moon, we got the beautiful sky and the stars, and on the middle we got our beautiful planet Earth. Then we got all the borders of all the countries on Earth drawn on this globe, and then what these bars are showing the number of COVID cases in each country. So you see here, United States, there's so many COVID cases. Brazil, South Africa, and India has got too many cases as well. So basically what we're doing here, we're making some sort of a data visualization just by using HTML. So all this data that I used here, it's included in this file. Don't worry, I'm gonna post the links to all these files in the description below. So in my working folder, I got another folder called assets, and then I've got this file, this CSV file. So the CSV file basically contains the name of all the countries on Earth, the latitude and the longitude, as well as the number of COVID cases. Apart from this file, we have another file, which is this one. It's actually a JSON file. This JSON file contains the topology of all the countries. So we're going to use this JSON file to draw the map, and then we are going to use this CSV file to map the data on that map. So to get started, you don't have to install anything apart from XAMPP or XAMPP. I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it XAMPP or XAMPP? I don't know. But anyway, just Google XAMPP and then go to their official website and then download whatever version that you want. If for me, I'm using Windows, I already downloaded it and then I installed it. And then after installing it, all you have to do is just start the server. So I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna go to my search panel and then I'm gonna click on XAMPP control panel and then start the server. I stop it and I can start it just like that. And now to actually use this server, you need to go to the folder where you installed XAMPP. For me, let me close that. You need to go to the folder where you installed XAMPP. To me, the folder is in my PC, Windows C, and then XAMPP, htdocs, and then this folder right here. So I'm using version 4.7.1. I don't know what version you're gonna be using. So just go into this folder, and this is going to be our working folder. So don't mind all these other files. These are my files that I've been making in the last couple of days. In this same folder, I got another folder that I made. It's called assets. So in this assets, I got all the data that I'm going to be using in this tutorial. To get started, all you have to do, just in the working folder, make an empty text file. I'm just using a simple Windows text file. You can use whatever you want. And then you hit file, save as. We're going to save this file as an HTML. So we do all files, and then here we say, we're going to call this one world maps dot html, like that. Okay. And then we hit save. So now if you go down there, we get an HTML file here that's called world maps. So to get started, you just have to, just first of all, write an HTML tag like that, and then close it like that, HTML, okay? And then we got the head of the HTML, like that. We close the head like that. Here's where things get exciting. So inside this head, we are going to use some scripts that are going to help us make this WebVR animation. So the first one that we're going to use is A-frame. So for those of you who don't know what A-frame is a very simple, easy to use WebVR framework that runs 3.js in the background. So A-frame makes it very easy for you to make WebVR animations without knowing how to code, without knowing any JavaScript. So you can go to their website. First of all, you can just go to aframe.io. You click there, and then you can see all the introduction, the documentation. You click Get Started. Then you can see a few examples on how to use it. So the current version they're using is 1.3. I'm just gonna go for 1.2 because this is the one I've tested and works for me. So I'm just gonna copy that script from A-frame. I'm gonna go to my file and paste it there. Now that I've done that, just below the head of the HTML file, I'm gonna make another tag. This tag is going to be the body, okay? The body tag. And then we can close the body tag like that. And inside the body tag, we are going to make an A-frame scene. And the way you define it as a tag also. You call it a scene like that. Then we close the A scene like that. So A scene basically says an A-frame scene, okay? And so inside this A scene tag, this is where we are going to define everything that we're seeing here, okay? So now, first of all, let's just import all the data that we're going to be using. To import the data, you are going to use another tag that they call the A assets. So we say A assets like that. Then we close the A assets like that. So let me just format it properly so that we know which is what. Okay, so inside the body we got the A scene, and then in the A scene we got the A assets. So basically what these assets are, what the A asset tag does is that it allows you to import all the different types of the different data types or 3D models that you want to use in your WebVR animation. So I'm gonna get all this data from this folder that I made inside my working folder called the asset tag. So first of all, I'm going to import this data. Let me just import this file first, the JSON file that has got the topology of all the countries. So I'm going to click properties. I'm going to copy the file name. And then I have to define this file where it is. You have to define another tag here, and you have to call this one an A asset item like that. And now we give it an ID. Let's just call this one GeoJSON, because this file contains GeoJSON data, the topology of all the countries on Earth. GeoJSON. I'm going to post the link to all this data and in the description below, and then you can code along with me if you want to code along. And then we write the source. Now we can say the source is equal to the folder where this file is. So we just copy and paste. Remember, it's in the assets folder, and then the name of the file .json like that. Now we are done. We can close this asset item tag like that. You close it by saying A asset item. Now the next thing you have to do is to define another asset item, but this time it's only an image. Okay, so before we define it, let's just go back to our WebVR. If you can see, you see that in this WebVR animation, we got this beautiful sky that has got stars. But actually, this is not an animation. This is just a picture. So in the working folder, we got in the same folder, our assets folder, images. We got these images of stars right here. And this is the image that we're going to use to make this beautiful sky. And let's see what properties. Okay, it's a JPEG. So let's go back to our file. So we say image. Let's give it an ID. Okay, ID. Let's say let's give it an ID of sky. So this image is going to represent our sky. And then with this, we say the source. Where is it in the? Sorry. In the source, so the source is going to be equal in the assets folder, and then images, and then stars dot jpg. Then we close the image tag like that. Okay, do we close? Okay, we close the image tag like that. Okay, now it's closed. Now, to actually show this sky on our WebVR animation, we have to define just below the assets, we have to define another tag. And this tag is going to be called an A sky. So we say it has to be on the same level as the asset. So we say A sky like that. And then you close it like that, A sky. And here, yeah, you define the source of the sky. The source is going to be equal to our sky that we defined up there. So we just say source is equals to hashtag. Then the hashtag, we use this ID right here. We say sky. Okay, it's as simple as this. Now, if we close this file, let's run it in our web browser. I already got it here. So we are in the working folder, localhost, the working folder we are in. And then the file is called worldmaps.html. We run this file and we should see a very beautiful sky. Okay, and there we have it, our beautiful sky with the beautiful stars it's showing. Now, let's see our animation. So before we make the globe, let's first of all, let's define the moon, and then we can define the globe. Okay, the moon to be somewhere in this position. So let's go back to our file, and just below the sky, we can define the moon by using an entity tag. So in A-frame, we got many types of tags that you can use, but to define something that is like a physical shape, like, or a 3D model, or anything that is like a round shape or a box, then you need to use something like that is called an entity. So we say an A entity, and you close it like that, A entity. And in here, this is where we define what kind of entity we want. We want this entity to have an ID of our moon. Let's just call this moon. ID is equal to moon. And let's give it a scale. So this is the beauty of A-frame. It's very easy. You can just define the scale of this moon just by saying scale, and then you give it a scale. So we wanted this to be 0.05, 0.05, 0.05, like that. Because the moon is round, we want to make something like a globe. So we're going to use the globe component in A-frame. So we define it by saying globe is equal to, and then here we say globe image URL, okay? And then this globe image URL is just going to point to a URL on a certain website that has the image of the moon, okay? So I'm just going to copy and paste right here. So this link is going to, it's on Wikipedia, and it has the image of a moon. Okay, so this is how you use it. And for this to actually work, we need to import another script just down here below the main A-frame script. So we go to Google and we say A-frame globe component. So globe component right there. I already searched it yesterday. If you look around, you're going to see a lot of people who've made who've used this component to do some type of data visualization and data animation. So if you click on this GitHub repository, we can say so if we click on this GitHub repository, it gives us a brief introduction of this globe component. So it's a 3D globe component for data visualization using A-frame. So you can click on all these different links just to see how it works. For me, I'm just gonna go down there. And I'm gonna copy this link down here. Copy it, and then go back to my folder, go back to my script, and then paste it there. I just realized this link is not going to work because you see it doesn't have this type of thing. You see A-frame.main.js. So we need a link, and we need a script that has got a JS file for this to work. So I found another website which has this. It's this one right here. So I'm gonna post the link to this website as well. So what they're doing on this website, they're making this data visualization that I'm also making in the same video. So it's not the exact same thing, but we can use the same scripts. So I'm just gonna paste the link to this website in the description below. You can look at it yourself. So I'm just gonna go and find that globe component. Okay, it's right here. So I'm just gonna copy this one, copy, and go there and then paste it down there. Okay. So now if we close this file, we should be able to see the moon somewhere. So let's close it and then let's rerun our web browser. For some reason, we are not seeing our moon. I'm scrolling to the right, to the left. I can't see our moon. I guess that's something to do with this link that we posted, that we're using right here. This globe A-frame globe component link we're using here. So I'm just gonna remove it. I'm gonna go and find another link. So I found a script that actually works. So it's the link to the script is right here. So it's a script and the source is right here, A-frame globe component, and yeah, like that. And let's save it. Let's rerun it. This time, everything should work properly. So for some reason, we're still not seeing the moon, and now we got this error. It's just showing a blue screen, and I know the reason why. If we go back to our script, it's because we didn't give the position of our moon. We need the moon to be somewhere. So here we define position like that, and you say where the position is going to be. Let's just put this moon somewhere. Let's say 0, 0, 45. Let's take a look here. So coordinate system, the way it works in A-frame is that, going on the right side here is the x-axis, the positive x-axis. Going to the going upwards is the positive y-axis, and then going inwards into the screen, that's the positive z-axis. So here by saying the moon is going to be 0 in the x-axis, 0 on the y-axis, and 45 in the z-axis, we are saying that it's going to be up there. It's going to be just in front of our, so it's going to be something like this. So this is 0, and this is 45 in the z direction, x direction, and that is the y direction. So this is what we're doing. Okay, so the file we're working with right now is this one right here. So let's save it. Then we're gonna rerun it. We should be able to see something now. Yeah, and there we have it. Our moon is over there. So perfect. This works perfectly. Okay, guys, okay, this took some time to actually load this for the moon to show, and that is because that URL is pointing to another website. So if we click on inspect, we can see that, okay, we don't have any errors, but anyway, it was loading here because it was trying to get the image of the moon from another website. But anyway, we got the moon now, so let's do something else. So the next thing that you want to do is I want to add a camera. So even if you don't add a camera on the scene, A-frame is going to add a camera for you automatically. So I want to add another camera, a custom camera, so that I can look at it from a distance. So let's go back to our file in the working folder, world maps. And right here, I'm going to make another tag that's called the A camera. So that's how you define a camera in A-frame. Just say A camera, and then the position of the camera is going to be somewhere here. And you close the tag like that. So let's close it and let's rerun the file. So now the camera is a little bit closer to the moon, and we can see the moon more clearly. Now that we have the stars and the moon, the next thing we can do is actually make the globe, our Earth, right here in the middle. So we want to make this one. So to do that, we go back to our file, and we do that by defining another entity. So I'm just going to copy this moon entity. I'm just going to copy it and paste it down there. I'm going to remove this link. Okay. Oops. Where I'm going to remove that globe link. I'm also going to remove the ID. We don't need the ID. And I'm going to say geometry. can define a geometry in A-frame just by saying inside an entity, you say geometry and then you say whatever geometry you want. So in this case, we want a primitive geometry. So there is already a lot of primitive geometries that come with A-frame. So if we go to the website of A-frame, you can see that they get here. Here you get entity. You get all kinds of you get geometry, and you get all kinds of primitive geometries. These include things like a box or a cycle, a square, a cylinder. So in this case, we want to have a sphere. So we want it to be round. Back to our file, we want this primitive geometry to be a sphere. And we give this sphere a radius. Oh, let's remove this one. Yeah, like that. And then we want the sphere to have a radius. Of 10. Then we are going to remove the position. It's just going to be at the center. So if the position is a center, we don't need to define it. And then the scale, we don't need to define the scale because we are already assigning it a radius of 10 over here. So we remove that scale as well. And then we can just give it. Let's save it for now and let's see what it looks like. Okay, save that file and then rerun it. See what it looks like. And there we have it. That's our globe. Okay, so we got the moon is not showing it because the moon is not, it's the image of the moon is being uploaded from another website. That is why I can't see it right now. It takes some time to load it. If we hit inspect, you can see that it's loading somewhere. Okay, but let's not worry too much about it. Now that we have this globe, we need to map map this picture as well as all these lines that define the borders between the countries. Okay, so to do that, we go back to our file, and here we say material, like that. The color of the borders to be in red. And we want the shader to be flat. And just after the material, let's just hit that down there so that we can see clearly. By the way, let's just format everything properly here so that we can see which is where. So here we get the assets system. Here we get the camera. Here we got the sky. We got the moon. So just below the moon, we need a space there, and then you got our globe here. So here, inside our sphere entity, we are going to define a component that is called the GeoJSON. The GeoJSON is equal to, and it's going to be, we are going to refer to this assets item that we imported up here. Okay, so we are going to say the source like that is equal to, we say hashtag. What did you give it there? We just copy and paste this. GeoJSON, copy and paste it down there. And then the topology is going to be equal to countries. So what am I doing here? So if we go to our working folder, let's go to our assets folder, and then we open that file. See, it's got, it's defining a topology for the different countries on Earth. So by saying topology object is equal to country, we are going to map all the countries that are contained in this JSON file on that sphere. So, and well, we go back to our working folder and we go back to our file. So I actually made a mistake here. It's supposed to be topology object, like that. So say countries. And then what else do we have to define? We have to define the projection. Projection, we are going to say, so this projection is going to be equal to geo equirectangular projection. Rectangular projection. So for this to make sense, I'm just going to go to my browser and then I'm going to open a new tab. I'm going to search A-frame GeoJSON component. Okay, it's right here. So we click on that. It's a GitHub repository. It explains on how this GeoJSON component works. So we scroll down there And you can see that it has all these things. You see topology object, the type of topology object you want to map on that sphere. And then projection, you got equirectangular projection. And then here you can see projections. You can open a new tab. You can see the different kinds of projection that you can make on the sphere. Okay. We follow that link and we go down there. You can see all these different kinds of projection, geo traverse, this should be an image here. Okay, it's there. So you can see geo traverse Mercator, all these different types of projections. So you can try different kinds of projection and see which one works for you. For me, I'm gonna go with the first option, which is geo equirectangular. This works fine for me. And for that to actually work, I also need to import this script right here. So I'm just gonna copy it, GeoJSON component. I'm gonna copy it and then go back to my working file. And then up here, just below the globe component, I'm gonna paste this script. Okay, let's format it properly like that. Okay, we can save it. And then let's reload the web browser, and we should have the map drawn on the sphere right now. For some reason, we are not seeing the map of the world on top of the sphere. I think we made a mistake somewhere. Let's just go back there to this GeoJSON component. Maybe okay. Let me just copy this projection, geo equirectangular. Let me go back to our file. And you see here, projection, geo, yeah, I misspelled it. So let's do that, delete it, paste it there. Okay, let's save it again. Let's rerun it. This time it should work. You can see, guys, these are the map of, this is the map of the world. We just drew lines on this sphere. It's on an empty sphere, okay? So these are the map of the world. But I can't zoom or go left or right to actually see this this map. So to be able to to rotate it to the left and the right to be able to see the map clearly, we need to use another A-frame component that is called the A-frame orbit controls component. So I'm gonna go to this link right here. I'm gonna find the orbit controls component right here. I'm just gonna copy this link. I'm gonna go back to our file, open it, and then I'm gonna paste it just down below our GeoJSON component. So we got these orbit controls, and for these orbit controls to actually work, we need to put them inside the camera tag. So in our camera, just down there, we are going to say orbit. We're going to say orbit controls. Inside the orbit controls, we are going to have a target, okay? And then this target is going to be, we want the target to be, okay, before we define the orbit controls, let's just define the map of the world, okay? As you can see here, here we just have the borders of the world drawn on this empty sphere. So let's just draw the topology of the world. So what I mean by the topology is, these green things, you see, these land masses and these green things that define the countries and the continents of the Earth. In our file, just below this entity, we are going to make another entity. I'm just gonna copy the moon entity. Okay, I'm just gonna copy the moon entity. I want to paste it down there. I want to leave some spaces and then paste it in between there. And then I'm going to change the ID. This is not going to be the moon. So I'm going to change the ID to say Earth. So this is going to be our Earth. And the position, we don't need the position because it's going to be on the middle. So we remove that position. And then the scale is going to be, let's make it bigger than our moon because we are closer to the Earth. So it should look bigger than the moon, much bigger than the moon. So, and then the globe URL, I'm gonna remove this URL. I'm gonna paste another one that actually has the image of the Earth. Just like we use the globe component up here to define the moon, we are going to do the same for this Earth. The only difference this time is that we are going to use an image that has the image of the Earth. So it's a link. So I'm just going to copy and paste. So I'm going to copy and paste right there. So you can see this image is also points to a URL on Wikimedia, and it's the picture of Earth. It's a JPEG. Okay, let's just close this and save it and go back to this file. Let's rerun it and see what we got. And there we have it. So as you can see, guys, now we got the topology of the Earth drawn there and the borders of the countries. But it's kind of, you see, the map. This is Africa, but the borders are for South America. So we need to rotate the globe. So and also you can see the orbit controls are not working yet. We need to be able to rotate this globe, this Earth, to the left and to the right. So let's to our file and define it. So just here, orbit controls, we are going to say target. And now, because we defined the Earth down there, we can say hashtag, the target is going to be Earth. So now the Earth is going to be the center of attention for our orbit controls. And then here, let's rotate this Earth here so that it's on the same orientation as the projection that we defined up here for the borders of the countries. So we can say rotation. We're going to rotate it 0 on the x-axis, 0 on the y-axis. Let's do it negative 270, and then 0 on the z-axis. Like that. Let's save it and let's rerun it. And this time we should have everything working properly. And there we have it, guys. As you can see now, everything is on the right orientation. And now we can actually rotate the Earth to the left like that, to the right like that. The moon is over there and all the borders between the countries are drawn properly. I can see clearly that is Africa, that is South America, that is North America, and that is Asia. So beautiful. So the next thing we should do now is to actually show the data. We need to show these bars that are showing the number of COVID cases in each country. So like I said, we are going to do this by using this CSV file that we have in our folder, assets folder. So I'm going to share this CSV file with everybody. I actually got this data from 2 different places. So I got the latitude, longitude of the countries from a different place. And then I got the COVID cases from a different place. And then I put the data together. And so I'm going to share this file with you guys if you're coding along with me. So now to actually map this data, we need to go back to our file, world maps. Just inside the body, but below the A frame scene, just inside the body, but below the A scene, we are going to define a script. This is going to be this is more like a JavaScript script, okay? But we're just going to define it inside the HTML. So we're going to say script. We have to write the script ourselves, and then we close it down there like that. Inside the script, we are going to define a constant. Let's just call this constant. You know what, guys, without wasting too much time, guys, I'm just going to copy and paste everything here, and then I'm going to explain to you what exactly this code is doing. So first of all, we have this a constant that is called weight color. So this is just going to be the color that is going to be used to describe all these bars that we are seeing here. So you can see these bars, these orange bars. So this is the color we are defining here, and it's going to be equal to d3.scale sequential log, and then the domain is going to be 0 to 6 million. So what this domain means is that, if you go to our folder, our working folder, we go inside the assets folder where this file is. I was looking at the number of total cases for each country, and I can see that the minimum value is 0, and the maximum value goes as far as something between 5 million and 6 million. So that is what we're doing here. We're defining the minimum value of 0 and the maximum value of 6 million. And then the range is going to go from yellow to red. So if any country has got 0 cases, then the bar should be drawn in yellow. Otherwise, if it's got like 6 million cases, then it should be red. Okay, that is what we're doing here. And by the way, this D3, it's also a script though, so we need to import it up here. So just below the orbit controls, we need to. So right here, well, we need to import our D3 scripts. So the first script, this one here is so there's two scripts that are important. They are both D3 JS scripts. This one, as you can see, it's called fetch. This one is used for fetching the data, the CSV data that we have here that we want to map on the globe. And then the other one is using for parsing the data. So we are fetching the data using the script, and then we are parsing it using this one right here. So we go down there, and then after that constant white color, we are defining another constant. This one is called globe entity, and it's going to be equal to document.getElement by ID Earth. So we are going up there, and we were, get element by ID. We mean this ID right here, Earth. So we are grabbing this this Earth component, and this is where we want to map our data. And then we have a function that is called function get world data. Then we open the brackets of this function, like that. Then here you define d3.csv, and then we go inside the assets folder, and then country, longitude, latitude, various cases. So we are getting this file right here, and then we say .then function, and then the data. We're just gonna console.log the data down there. We don't need to log it, so I'm gonna remove that. So in there, we're just going to say globe entity.set attribute the globe. So this is just going to be a globe again. So it's the same thing that we did up there. But this time we are actually, it's actually going to be data points around the globe. So data points is going to be equal to data. And then the point latitude is going to be data.latitude. So we want this data to be mapped on the latitude. So point latitude is going to be data.latitude, and then the point longitude is going to be data.longitude. So this is what I'm doing here, data.longitude. And then the point color is going to be equal to data, and then weight color data.total cases. So we want to map all the total cases of the total cases from each country together with the longitude and the latitude. And let's just to show you how it works, let me just remove this scaling first. I'm going to remove this one here as well. And then the point attitude. So how high do you want to map these bars? We are going to say math the square root, just show the data.total cases. So this is going to show a bar that is, that points upwards, more like an altitude, And then the radius of this bar is going to be 0.8. And then the label is going to be the data. The label on the latitude is going to be data.latitude. And then the label of the longitude is going to be data.longitude. And then the label of the altitude again is going to be the total cases. And the dot radius is going to be label dot radius is going to be 0.15, and then the label dot orientation is going to be the bottom. So we want the label to be just at the bottom, just like here, we want the label of each country to be just below the bottom, So the bar is going to be on top, and then the label on the bottom, like that. And then the label size, let's just make it 1.5. And then the label resolution, let's just make it 5. And then the description, we say description, the way you write a description, you write it like that. You say description in the curly brackets, in the open brackets, then curly brackets get data.data. Then say equal to data.country. You use this $sign, and then you say data.country. This country, is it like that? So let's just go back to our data. Okay, yeah, it's country, like that. Data.country, and then the cases is going to be, again, we use the $sign, then we say curly brackets, open brackets, and they say data.total cases. Is total cases written like that? Okay, we go back. Okay, yeah, it's written like that. We close it again, and then we close the function like that. And then down here, just before we finish our, just before we close our script, we call the function get world data. Okay, so this is gonna do it for us. I'm gonna close it. And now so it's this one. So let's rerun our WebVR file like that. for some reason, we are not seeing our data being plotted on this map. And I figured out that is because we are missing some script. Okay, let's go back to our working folder. Let's open our data. So here we got, this script that is used for, parsing the data, and the other one that is used for fetching the data. But for this to actually work, just above these two scripts, we need to import another script, which is the main d3.js script. So if we actually go to Google and do say d3.js introduction, like that, we can actually see what D3 is. So D3.js library allows us to manipulate elements of a web page in the context of a data set. So yeah, so you can go into that documentation and learn more about it. So for us here, we are just going to import that script down there. So the source of the script is right here, d3gs.org, and then the version is version 6. You can use whatever version works for you. So this should do it for now. So I'm just gonna save this file and rerun it. And this time we should be able to see all the data being plotted on this map. There we have it, But as you can see, these data points are going too far in the attitude. But as you can see, this is not what we want. This is like, these bars are too high. Let's scale them down to somewhere around this height, okay? So let's go back to our file. And then to scale these data points, all you have to do is, right here is just multiply them by some number, okay? Let's just multiply by something like, let's say, this number. Okay, the same with this one. Let's multiply it by a very small number like that. Like that. And this time they should look much better. Let's save them and let's rerun our web app and see what happens. And it's beautiful. See, it's showing all the data points exactly where they should be, and all the labels. You see, United States, Mexico there. I see we get a lot of COVID cases in America. We get a lot of COVID cases in Brazil, South Africa, and India, and the data for some countries is missing, I don't know why. You see, here we don't have the label and the data. Same here. China, we got the data for China. And that's about it, guys. So if you've got some VR gadgets, you can actually click on this part right here, VR. And then you can view in a VR mode. But because I don't have the VR gadgets, I'm just using a normal web view. So this is good enough for me because I can use the orbit controls to rotate this globe to the right, rotate it to the left. And this is good enough for the purpose of this video. So if you guys haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe and like this video because I'm going to make a lot more exciting videos in the future. So if you guys are interested in the next video, I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful WebVR game. It's a shooter. I can shoot at this. Let me just show you how it works. So I can shoot at this and then it explodes. Okay. This is the enemy ship. It explodes. I can also shoot at this aircraft. It also shoots at me. Okay, so I can shoot at that aircraft. It says it explodes, and then it says you won. So I win this game. But if I don't shoot it, let me show you what happens. So if I don't shoot it and I don't move away, it's gonna shoot me, and then it keeps shooting me. And then if I get hit too many times, I'm gonna lose. Boom, and then I explode. And then it says you lose. So if you guys are interested, I'm gonna show you how game just by using HTML and A-frame. It's very simple and easy to make. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave your comments and suggestions below. I'm gonna see you in the next one.